And this is All the Leads Mastermind Podcast number 459. Bruce, I got nothing. Kick
Got
it right.
nothing.
Nothing right now. I'll think of something, but go
Oh,
ahead.
all right. Well, as Jim said, welcome everybody. We're excited to get a another week of All the Leads Mastermind Podcast up and running. I had a complete brain freeze there for a second. Forgive me, everybody. Want to welcome those of you that are have been with us for a long time, and those of you that are new. Um, if you are new, let me tell you guys what this is really quickly, just so you know and know what to expect. This is going to be kind of an open Q&A style mastermind. We are here to provide you coaching, advice. We're here to also hear success stories as well from those people that are getting some traction in the space. We deal with kind of life transitions on this particular call. Very, very heavily probate related. So it does not have to be probate related. If it's real estate related, we want you to ask your questions. But it is pretty heavily probate related since all the leads, kind of the main niche that they provide leads in is the probate space. So if you are looking for leads, I recommend that you go check out alltheleads.com. You can get probate, pre-probate, and divorce leads there with some other lead sources that are going to be pretty cool coming in the in next year. So I can't believe next year is just a week away. So next year, more lead sources coming. They'll be able to talk about that as it gets a little bit closer. Now, if you're here and you want to talk about getting started in probate or advanced probate strategies, discuss deals that you're in, talk about prospecting, anything like that, that's what we're here for. It's several of us coaches on the call. I've got Tim and Jim on here that are the owners of All the Leads. Let me see if Ken is here. Ken is the All the Leads coach. My name's Bruce
Here.
Hill. And I host Probate Mastery, a certification program for those of you that are looking for advanced probate training with a certification or designation. And we're here every Thursday. If you're watching via live stream on Facebook or YouTube, chat your questions or comments in underneath of the live stream. It'll pop over to us and we'll be able to answer your chatted in questions. However, if you're live and you're here on Zoom, I want you to raise your hand with your questions or comments or wins and success stories, and we'll call on you and have a talk. All right. So with that said, I want to see if Tim or Ken have anything that they'd like to add in while we're waiting on our first questions.
Jim, you
Tim,
got
you good? Hello?
good.
I think you're good. Ken, how about you? You have
Yeah,
anything to
yeah,
add?
I do. I got a nice transaction coming to a close soon. I wasn't sure if I was going to get through it. Like I said last week, I mean, some transactions you just need to let go because they suck too much energy from you. And I thought maybe I was in the middle of one of those transactions that I should have let go, but it looks like I'm going to get it to close. We started out the son, we couldn't evict him out of the house, and he said he would burn it down before he moved out.
Mm.
So that's kind of the situation I was dealing with. But through a lot of patience and effort and talking him off the ledge, um, we're at a pretty big price reduction at the end. Which they were not going to accept. But I go, well, what's your alternative? You told me you're going to get foreclosed on if this transaction doesn't happen. We were on the market for 3 months. It's still the best offer that we've had. So I get it. I don't like how you came to this, how they asked for a huge price reduction, during the due diligence. But do we have anything better? And are you going to allow it to get foreclosed on? So talk the seller off the ledge too. So the deal's finally going to happen. So that'll be 14 and a half thousand. So that's cool. And then, I got three new listings coming to market for the new year, which I'm happy about that. And then I also looked through my past leads and then realized there's about 10 or 15 people that listed over the year that I didn't follow up with. So I realize I'm very good at starting the conversations as I'm always pounding the table, get on the phone. But I definitely got to work on my follow-up skills for sure. And I'm in the process of refining that, with letters and books and different cards that I'm going to start sending out. So just all, keep at it. You got to have a system.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that, however basic that system is, you just evolve from there, and then you plug the leaks as you go along.
Yep.
So
It's true. So, Ken, you are plugging along, constantly looking to add pipeline, add future transactions, and that kind of brings me to something that I bring up periodically, and it's the quote that success leaves clues. So success leaves clues, and if you've been around here for a little while, you guys have probably heard me talk about this. The idea is you want to take a quick glance up at the horizon from time to time, once a year, once a quarter, that kind of thing. Take a quick glance up and tell yourself, what is success going to be for me over this next quarter, over this next year, over this next 3 years, 5 years, whatever your business planning system looks like. But what is success going to look like? And once you determine what success is going to look like, and this applies to your personal lives as well, once you determine what success is going to look like, at that point, from that point forward, you should not look back up at success until your next planning session. You should be looking at the clues, the stepping stones that are going to be required for success. So often we sit there and we look at how close or how far away we are from that big goal that we've set for ourselves over the next quarter, year, or whatever you have. And you're not paying any attention to the stepping stones. And think about success being across a canyon from you. And it's not that far away, but if all you're doing is staring ahead at that big goal, you don't know where you're walking. So I want you guys to look at where you're walking. Look at your daily activities. Look at your weekly activities. Look at the number of prospecting calls you're making, the number of conversations you're having. Look at the people that you're adding to your pipeline that are potential clients. Look at the marketing pieces that go out. Look at the clues, the stepping stones. And you don't have to look up at the success, because that'll take your eyes off of the stepping stones that you need that will lead you to the success. So we all want to look at success, but we want to, if you're going to have success, you want to look at it in your quarterly or annual business planning sessions, which right now is a great time for you guys to be doing that. And from that point until you reach the end of your plan, the rest of your time needs to be making sure that you hit your stepping stones. Hit your stepping stones. And those are going to be your key performance indicators in your daily and your weekly activities. And that, I want to just kind of pull everyone's attention back to that. If all you're ever doing is looking ahead, how close am I to that big goal? You're going to misstep. You're going to step off of a ledge and you're going to fall short of your success. Watch the stepping stones. I want to quickly kind of come back to a four-pronged approach to your probate business for those of you that are going into probate. And this is going to apply to some of the approach that you guys have in divorce marketing, or even for those of you that are doing things like farming and you're working different types of leads. I want to come back to the four-pronged approach. You might call these the four pillars. And number one is going to be your prospecting. You need to put yourself in the best position to have voice-to-voice or face-to-face conversations. That's your prospecting. That's your phone calls, your door knocking if you door knock. That's your events that you're getting people to. You need, they need to hear your voice.
As far as door knocking, if anybody's got any experience with that, please raise your hand and tell us. Because not to interrupt, but I have a friend that does solar, and he kills at door knocking, and I'm just like, been telling myself I probably should go out and door knock as well. So I'd love to hear any success from our audience that is doing that.
Joe popped his hand up. Joe, if you're okay, I'll call on you in a second. I want to hit the other the other pillars. But if you door knock, I'd love to hear kind of what your approach is and how your success has been. Same with anyone else here that does that. So your voice to voice is going to be pillar number one. Pillar number two is going to be direct outbound in the mail marketing in the mail. I want to kind of let everybody know that results vary on your mailing approach. Some markets respond incredibly well instantly to mail. Other markets respond to mail as a keeper or as a redirect into websites and online things. Okay, so for example, in my market, I would show up on appointments and I thought that the appointment came through my website, or I thought it came through a YouTube video, or I thought it came through a call. And I'd get to the appointment and they'd have a stack of my letters there. So mail in a market like mine was kind of the cumulative approach that wouldn't often get a direct call off of the letter that I'd sent, but I'd get there and I'd realize, hey, it was the combination of my calls, my web activity, and my mail that did the trick for me. While other markets, you send a letter out and you get 5 calls on it right away. So I want those of you that are doing mail or thinking about doing mail that to know that you could be in either one of those markets, or you could be in an in-between market. Mail should be the long term, though. So you do want to be putting marketing material and your message in front of people through their mailbox as well. That's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is what you don't want to skip if you're doing mail. If you're doing mail, you need online content, credibility. So you need people to visit like a credibility website. You need over time, you don't have to do this right away, but you need potentially blogs and videos out there that are all pointing to you as an expert in the niche that you are building. So if you're building the probate niche, you probably want a website that talks about you as a probate expert. You don't want them showing up saying, I help first-time home buyers, because then they're going to go, well, I got a letter saying you're a probate expert, but all I can find is where you help first-time home buyers. All right. So you want things online that you can direct people to. And it's especially important if you're doing mail. Don't do one without the other. So pillar number 3 is going to be your online presence. And then pillar number 4 are going to be your relationships. Normally, you get your first 3 pillars set up and running and semi-automated for yourself. And then you go out and you start building those attorney relationships and getting those vendors in your pipeline and having those one-to-one meetings with people that you're going to refer to and that are going to refer back to you as well. So your relationships are going to be that 4th pillar. For those of you that are with All the Leads, and I guess technically you don't even have to be with All the Leads, but you're looking for help with mail or websites, ATL can do that for you as well and automate it. So anyone that's looking to add those pillars into your business should have a chat with All the Leads about that. And I've seen a couple of questions come in through chat. I am going to check those, but while I'm looking at messages, I'm going to ask Joe Lehman to unmute himself. I know you said you did some door knocking. Talk to us a little bit about your experience in that.
One of my very first deals after I signed on with All the Leads came as a result of door knocking. I had not been able to contact the personal representative, and I just simply went to the house, and obviously someone was living in it. The neighbor next door told me that it was the son of the deceased and his girlfriend. I left them a note. About 3 days later, he called me, and I ended up working through the entire process with them to get the house cleaned up, get it fixed up for the market, and selling it through the MLS. And it turned out to be a good deal for him and his sister. He went back to Louisiana happy. He was up here just living in the house until he could get something done with it and his father's estate set up. And it all came because I just went to the house.
And is that, Joe, is that something you're consistently doing? Because it sounds like you didn't even talk to them. You just left a note and they called you, which was fortunate. Have you continued to door knock after that?
I don't do as much of it as I probably should. You know, it's more of a time issue, but direct contact at the door, I don't care what type of real estate you're doing, is highly productive. Expired listings, for sale by owners, your any direct contact, and almost every agent is better face to face than they are over the phone prospecting, especially initially, and especially if you're getting new into a niche like probate, because the discussions in probate are very different prospecting discussions from expired listings or FSBOs. So the more I'm able to get out and do that, it just seems like the more productive it is. But when you're generating so much business through your over the phone prospecting, you don't have to do as much of it, but it's highly productive.
Right, right. Well, and I agree. I mean, I preach get into action. So any way you can get over to that house, if they're not there, get a key and go over and do a Zoom meeting and say, hey, I want to take pictures for the contractor. I want to take pictures for the estate planning people. Let me make sure that you don't have newspapers stacked up in front of your house. Essentially any way you can get into action so you can actually get on Zoom with them or meet them in person, because that's when the connection is formed and that's when they start to remember who you are and put your face with your name. A lot of times we think because we have a good conversation, you got the deal, and that is absolutely not true. It's a good start, and they've opened the door, but they got the chain on and they're just looking through the door at you. And now you got to actually get them to open the door where they know you every time you call. So getting in front of them is the way to do that.
Yep.
Conversation is really easy. It's just real direct. It's just be open, be transparent, be real, be direct with them. You're here to help. How can I help you? And that will always work. I've got a recent success story if you would like to hear it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. I had a lead that first came through back in January of 2023, and initial conversations with the personal representative. She was convinced that she was going to be able to clean the house out and eventually get it ready and sell it for as high a dollar value as she could get. And things went on. By the third time I had talked to her, I guess my first conversation was in February. By about April, she wasn't quite so sure. Then she had an unfortunate incident in the house. The water heater burst, took down the ceiling pretty much in the 3 bedrooms, made a huge mess. She finally decided that she just couldn't deal with that. I met with her on November the 2nd. She was ready to sell all cash quick to an investor. We were under contract that day, closed on November the 16th. My investor rehabbed the house. I put it on the market Saturday morning, sold it yesterday at $5,000 less than list price. The investor is probably going to, I'm going to estimate he's going to net about $60,000 to $70,000 on the deal. He's real happy, and of course, I'm real happy.
Yeah.
And the off-market deals, I've done more deals this past year off-market like that, all cash, quick close, no inspection, no appraisal. Close as soon as we have clear title. Buyer pays all the closing costs. The seller pays my fee and the tax proration. And usually my fee is somewhere around 10% of the sales price from that probate.
Yeah, sometimes you get better deals from those people that are confused. I mean, if somebody has certainty and they're like, oh no, I'm gonna sell the house, and they know how they're gonna sell it. I mean, you still might get a listing, but a lot of times it's those people that are like, oh, I don't know. And they let things build up. And if you keep following up with them, then you can get a deal. I mean, through my prospecting, again, all these leads I looked at, I went to meet with this lady. She was, in my opinion, she was a junkie. I mean, there was pretty much no question about it. the house was a mess. I mean, I knew she was going to sell to a cash investor. Partially just because I didn't want to deal with it, but partially I forgot about it, lost track. But as I'm going through it, I see it on the MLS, cash buyer listed it for $170,000 more than they bought it for. So somebody else, saw the situation, knew it was something that was going to have to be resolved. And they followed up and got the deal just like you did. So, congratulations.
This is a niche where persistence pays. Just
Uh,
checking back in, checking back in, checking back in, staying on the side of being helpful. Are you ready yet? Can we get this thing resolved for you? And it pays. Persistence pays.
Yeah. And that's partially why I'm gonna start sending additional letters to people that I talk to, because I figure now I'm going to have a little bit more skin in the game too. If I'm actually, sending them additional letters, cards, other marketing pieces, then that's going to be easier for me to keep them on my radar, instead of calling the new leads and starting a new conversation. Like I said, I know for me, I need to do a better job of continuing to follow up. So again, it's just, kudos to you for doing that and getting that deal. That's amazing.
The great benefit of probate right now is that there's nobody frozen by 2.5% mortgage interest rate. They need to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yep. And it's nowhere near as easy to do it by themselves as it was a year and a half ago. Right. Right. So, love this topic, and I love the idea that Ken and Joe have been talking about persistence. This is a persistence game in this space. It's a conversation game in this space. It is easy to do. It's easy business to do. It's easy not to do because it is going to require a little bit of effort and some system setup for you guys. Not a lot, but a little bit more than the majority of investors and agents out there are willing to do. And if you're willing to go that extra 20% further than most of your competitors are, you will get far more than a 20% return from them. It's the difference between getting a deal every 6 months and getting 6 deals a month in some markets. Okay. So you've got a lot of opportunity here. And that
pays for Christmas.
Yes, exactly. So, I kind of want to talk about a couple of things here really quickly as it relates to some of the questions that have been chatted in. And I appreciate, Joe, you chiming in, Ken, everything that you've had to say. Roger, we're going to call on you in a few minutes. The questions that have come in through chat, though, are pretty interesting. And I'm actually going to go to the last question that came in on chat, mainly because it's the most time sensitive. So Ryan is watching on one of our live stream platforms, not here on Zoom, and says that he's got his first attorney meeting today in about an hour and asked if we had any advice. So number one, congratulations and good job going out and pursuing that attorney relationship. You just went to a place that only about 1 or 2% of people that pursue the probate niche actually go. And that's going as far as to set up an attorney meeting. A lot of people are intimidated for some reason by attorneys. So those of you that are on here that go, I'm just not really sure what to say to an attorney. You're in good company if you're confused and not sure, potentially intimidated by the level of professionalism that they supposedly have. And we know that they're not all that professional. Many of them are quite easy to approach. You just need to get over that place in your head that tells you that they're hard to approach. So Ryan has done that, and he's got a meeting in an hour. So let's talk about what to say. First thing I do is I walk in and I make sure that they know that they are the professional. So I do a little bit of ego stroking. There are plenty of people here who have their certified probate expert designation. If you have the certified probate designation, this is the time to downplay that when you're talking with an attorney, because the attorney has gone through multiple years of law school and passed a bar, and you've gone through 20 hours of advanced real estate education. There's a little bit of a difference. So I don't go in there and say, hey, I'm the expert here. Listen to what I have to say. I go in there with a humble heart, even if I know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm 9 years into this. I've been training in the probate space for 4 years, 9 years into working probate as a niche, 20 years in the real estate industry. And I don't go in and I don't say those things to an attorney. I go in and say, look, I'm in the real estate space. I know you know a lot of realtors and investors. Let me tell you that I really appreciate this time. So humble, 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 humble. I know you're busy. Only thing I'm really looking for is 10 or 15 minutes to hear a little bit about your business. And the first thing I want to say is I am not looking for a one-way street where I'm coming to you begging for referrals. Okay. If we form a relationship, this needs to be a two-way street where I am giving you more value than I'm ever receiving. That's what I say. All right. Two-way, not a one-way street where I'm begging for referrals. This needs to be a two-way street. I want to give more value than I get. All right. I'm looking for an attorney that can kind of be my primary go-to attorney, that I bring potential prospects if they have a bad attorney, prospects that don't have an attorney that I could bring some of my sphere of influence to for estate planning, maybe trust creation. I don't know if you do those things. So just kind of tell them, I want to bring to you, and I want to understand more about your business. Okay. Then just ask them a little bit about their business. Get them talking a little bit. Should take 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the person. Could take an hour if they like to talk about themselves. That's okay. All right. Get them talking about themselves a little bit. Interject a little bit. Say, ultimately, my goal is to be different than the other agents that may be coming to you or investors. I'm not just looking for deals. What I want to do is put together a program. Okay, let me stop. I'm going to pause for a quick second. I say this. What I want to do is put together a program. And I say it like that, not because I don't already have a program. So remember, I've been doing probate for 9 years. I have a program. I don't go to them in an egotistical way and say, I have a program. I personally still say, I want to put together a program. All right. You're kind of going to them for advice. They're the expert. It's that ego stroke. I want to put together a program where I do more than just sell houses. I'd like to help with the entire or as much of the probate process as you don't have time for. If a house needs to be cleaned out, if the grass needs to be cut, if the locks need to be changed, if you need an appraisal or antiques dealt with, I'd like to be able to be a resource to fill in those gaps for families. And then after I say that, I'll say, is that something that you think your clients would find beneficial? I want that tie down. Is that something that you think your clients would find beneficial? All right. I get a yes. And then I move on, and then I kind of move on. And toward the end of the call, I go, hey, could I have your permission to just kind of be direct really quickly? Yes. All right. I do want a relationship that also assists and helps me grow my business in this area. Is there anything that you would need to see from me that would make you comfortable referring me to your clients? All right. Get their answer. If they say, oh, I'll send everyone to you, they're either blowing smoke or they don't value their clients that well. Okay, especially if you don't know the attorney. If they immediately say, I'll send everyone to you, because you might be a terrible investor or a terrible agent. They don't know that. So they need to tell you what they're looking for. I can deal with an attorney that's just blowing smoke. Okay, I can deal with that. But I normally don't trust their answer if they just say, hey, I'll give everyone to you. Right. If they give you some answers and they say, hey, we have relationships, just ask them how you could work in and how, if there's a scenario that they would give you a try. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that they know that you're in it for them first, but they know for a fact, and you can't leave without them knowing that you want to grow your business and that you are looking for referrals. I normally leave that till the end of the meeting. Don't leave without bringing that up. Otherwise, you're going to leave with someone that goes, what a nice guy. What a nice gal. And then they're never going to know that you want their referrals. And I've had too many of those relationships, and I'm not leaving my conversations without asking for what it's going to take to get referrals. And that goes for attorney conversations, and that goes for sphere of influence conversations. People need to know what you want. You don't have to talk about it every single time you meet, but they need to know. Otherwise, they're not going to send you anything. So that's how to handle your first attorney meeting. Put a follow-up plan in place, do a monthly pop by, call them every now and then, send them gifts, invite them to coffee, lunch, drinks, whatever it takes afterward. But you need to build that relationship. And it all starts with that first meeting. Try to keep it as brief as possible unless they just seem like they're wide open to talking. All right, so I hope that helps. If there's any follow-up questions on the attorneys, you guys can raise your hand or chat those in. I want to go to Level. You just signed up a couple of weeks ago. You're getting your first group of leads tomorrow. Congratulations. First set of leads. What suggestions do we have? So suggestion number one, don't show up like your competition. Number one is your competition doesn't normally show up. That's first. Ken and I know all too well when we talk to people that go, oh man, I've been getting leads for 3 months and I'm on the verge of quitting. Oh, why? What's not working? Well, I'm not working is normally the answer. I haven't done anything with them. Okay. If you work your leads, unless you're really bad on the phone, you will have success if you work your leads. Where you're going to struggle is just not doing anything. All right. So most of your competition, they're not going to do anything. The competition that takes action, the majority of them are going to show up and go, sorry, your dad died. Let's sell the house. All right. So show up as a resource, as an advocate. It means that you're going to have to connect them to resources that they need. It means you're going to have to, in some cases, offer more than just a house listing or a house purchase. You're going to need to be able to refer them to an attorney, refer them to a contractor, refer them to an estate sale company. So your job is to be a resource. So in doing that, the way you get that message out there is you put a mailer out first. Now, I'm going to advise anyone that is going to put a mailer out, not to just put one out. One is a great way to waste your money. One is a good intro to your phone call. It's a great excuse to make a call. Hey, I wanted to see if you got the letter I sent last week. But for the most part, one is a good way to not get a call back and to have wasted your money on sending a single mailer out. All right. So if you're going to put a mailer out, start with 3. I don't recommend 3, period. That be your end of niche strategy, but start there. That way you're a few months ahead. You don't have to go add more to your campaign for a few months at that point. If you fall behind, you've got yourself a little bit of runway. So get something in the mail, call and follow up on that mailer. Use the mailer as an excuse, unless you're an amazing person on the phone. If you are really good at prospecting, the mailer you don't have to use the mailer as an excuse. Some people find that to be the easiest way to introduce themselves on the phone. All right. So if this is kind of new to you, use the mailer as your reason for the call, but do call. Be prepared for people to hold you off. Not rejection, but resistance. Resistance is normal. They've lost a loved one. They've never been through the process. They don't know what they don't know. It's really, really normal that they would hold you off and be a little bit private and secretive and say things like, hey, we have it all handled. Your job at that point goes to exactly what Joe and Ken were talking about a little bit ago. It becomes the follow-up game. Now, as you build your skill, you'll learn how to set appointments on the first call. So if you're unable to set an appointment on the first call, it's normal as you're new. Okay. But as you start having more conversations and making more follow-ups, you better be improving your skill and making more appointments on the first call if you really want to triple or quadruple your conversion rate. But if they hold you off, it's normal. Don't fight them. Don't tell them they're wrong. That's a great way to ruin your rapport. Just if they hold you off, just agree with them and tell them that that's the best thing you've ever heard. I was hoping you'd say that. I'm really glad you have it all handled. Okay. That's okay. Arrange a follow-up call. Do ask about the real estate at some point on that first call, though, even if you don't lead with it. Do ask about the real estate. All right. That'll get you started. So a letter, a phone call, a letter and a phone call. If you're doing letters, go ahead and set a website up or a blog or a video series or something like that. The easiest thing to do is going to be a credibility website through All the Leads. That'll be the easiest and fastest thing. But I want you guys over time producing content. And remember, where I am today, where Ken is today, where Joseph is today, where Roger's got his hand up is today, this is where we are in our journey. Our businesses aren't final products yet. We're constantly adding. You are going to be constantly adding, and don't compare your today to where I am today. Okay, don't compare where you are with your competitors or with your peers. Start with the basics, and little by little, week over week or month over month, add assets to your business. Add systems, add automations, and you'll be just fine. You'll be closing a lot of business. You'll fill your pipeline up in about 5 or 6 months. You'll start closing business sooner than that, but the predictable business comes at around that 6-month mark, somewhere around there. That's when you can start to predict and count on X number of deals per month. All right, so that's the plan. Hopefully that helps level, and anyone else that was kind of having those same questions as well. Before I jump over to Roger, I want to answer 2 questions that were already answered in chat, but I think that these are beneficial to everyone else that's listening to this after the fact. So Donna had asked, who has a brochure to send heirs or the attorney? And All the Leads does have trifold brochures that are a great drop-off for attorneys or to potentially insert into your letters. So reach out to All the Leads if you're looking for one of those. Another person had asked, where is this? Josh had asked about the best company for skip tracing leads. So Josh complimented All the Leads on the phone numbers and skip tracing that comes with ATL leads. Every now and then, it's hard to get a hold of someone, or maybe you need that extra resource. So a couple of resources that I like are, Forewarn. Forewarn is a good skip tracing company. Podio is a good skip tracing organization for individual one-off skip traces if you're looking for that extra air or extra phone number. And this is assuming that you're getting your own leads, or maybe you just need that extra phone number because the ATL leads have really good phone data attached to them. But if you're just not able to make a contact, Forewarn and Podio are 2 really good ones that I like. Dataskip.io is another really good one that I've had a lot of success with. And I could list off about a dozen. I'm just going to stop with those because they'll be a great place for you guys to start.
Hey, the other thing is, and I'd already answered him in the chat as well, is that on occasion, if they have their own info for subscribers, we'll also do some of that for them. So if they'll just contact us, we'll be willing to help them out as well.
Excellent. Yeah. So send, if you've got a list and you want ATL to skip trace it, they've got some really good resources, and they can put that skip tracing around your own list. All right, let's see what we have. I definitely have some other questions that have been chatted in. Roger's had his hand up patiently for a little while. We are going to come to those of you that have questions chatted in a few minutes. Anybody here that has other questions, please raise your hand or chat in your question. By the way, Jeff answered and said Ben Verified has been a really good skip tracing resource for him. So Ben Verified, there are lots of them out there, guys. There's a lot. I usually bookmark as many as I find.
Again, there are a lot, but the numbers are so good. Like I said, I was going through my leads last night, and I was like, oh man, there was 10 people that sold their house in between the time I talked to them and the time I rechecked. So, I mean, you guys can skip trace, and there are many people that do have a massive database, and they're all skip trace leads, and they're putting out so much, so many texts that they are getting a decent response. So it is the way to do it. But if you guys want to just simplify and go directly to the source, the numbers are so good. They're so good. There's so much business in there, and you will get it. Like, Bruce said, if you just, start a system from the smallest point possible and then build it out, rather than think about it like, oh, I'm going to skip trace, have 800,000 people in my database and send text to all of them. Start simple and then build it out from there. And then you'll have the revenue to skip trace additional leads. But these leads are so good. I mean, why not just go directly to the sellers that are sitting there waiting for you to call them right now?
Yep. Love it. Awesome. All right. Let's go to our good friend, Roger. Roger, what do you have today?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for letting me speak. There's a door knocking opportunity for every probate property that we have, and it is the next door neighbor. The next door neighbor may want to buy the house for a family member. He may want to buy it as an investor and do something. It may be that the next door neighbor doesn't want to buy the property, but he's interested in selling his house. I got three sales out of that door knocking. I got the sale of the house that was in probate. I sold the house of the neighbor, and then I got him to buy a house across town. So there's opportunities that you don't see that are available with that. I've also run into seniors relocation opportunities where they're looking to move into seniors facilities and start a dialogue with families on that. I've got one of those working right now. And for every next door neighbor that you have right there, the question is going to come up, why are they selling the house? I know he died a couple of months ago. You start talking, it's in probate. You now have an opportunity to introduce a trust for their estate and use that name and person as a lead for possible attorney referrals. So you have, for every probate that you have that you get in on the front, get into the location, it's a trust opportunity. It could be a seniors relocation. It could be a sale, or it could be to the family, or it could be an investor. There's a lot just knocking on the doors in the neighborhood of the probate itself. Thank you.
Roger, I have to tell you how brilliantly simple that is. You just triggered a memory for me, and all the hundreds of houses that I flipped over the years, I don't remember one or two cases where they had to mail me a key. Almost always they would say somebody across the street or next door has a key. Tell them I sent you and you can go take a look at the house. So that is just so brilliantly simple. It never occurred to me to actually prospect those people, even before I talked to the owner or in conjunction with talking to the owner. So great idea, my friend. Thank you.
The easiest probate call or easiest probate discussion to have is with someone who's not in probate. Okay. The best probate discussion to have is with someone that's going through probate. So that's the best. The easiest is with someone not going through probate, and neighbors are a great opportunity. Those of you that are realtors, your sphere of influence is a great opportunity for you to discuss your offering in this niche. All right. I started doing that a few years ago, and I realized that I'd missed so many probate listing and purchase opportunities over the past couple of years because I hadn't vocalized this service to people that were living. Okay. I hadn't vocalized it. And a lot of them said, oh yeah, we just went through probate with my aunt. We just went through probate with this person. We went through probate with that person. I wish I'd have known, because I'd have brought you the business. But they didn't know. And these were active referral partners of mine. They were active, but because it was probate, they just let whoever the PR was handle the decision, or let the attorney handle the decision. So you guys do need to be having conversations with people that are off of your lead list. Now, the highest value, the most likely to convert today, are people on your lead list, but don't exclude the conversation to them. And I think that Roger just brought up an incredibly good point. Unbelievable. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, a couple of years back, I was mentoring a new real estate agent. And again, trying to get him on the phone. He said, "Oh, I feel awkward doing that." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's go door knocking." What I was doing is I'd get a listing and then go knock and just be like, "Hey, we're just inviting you to our open house." Obviously, inventory was extremely low. And actually, I did pick up a couple listings just doing that. The one guy in particular was like, "Wow, it's like you're actually out here trying to promote your listing. I respect that so much." He was like, "I'm going to sell in about 6 months." And sure enough, when the time came, and that day he brought me into the house, showed me around. Right there, I gave him a couple pointers on what he should probably work on the house as far as getting it ready for sale. And yep, got the sale. So that's kind of like circle prospecting on the phone. You can do it door knocking. Hey, we have a new listing coming to market. Wanted to give the neighbors the opportunity to pick their, family or neighbors to move into the house. And then, but a lot of times you will get listings that way.
Yep,
We can
absolutely.
tell war stories all day. You just reminded me of another one. Sometimes it'll backfire on you. When we were really serious about flipping, we had our "We Buy Houses" sign on the car. And while we were sitting there getting the contract signed, one of the neighbors came over and said, "Hey, I'll buy it." And they bought it out from under us, but that's okay. I mean, we added both of them to our sphere of influence, and I think we got a referral each from them over the next couple of years. I mean, it is going to backfire on you, but it just reinforces that how many people would like to be able to pick out their own neighbor. So again, that's the idea of the day there, Joe, so far.
Excellent. Wonderful. Good. All right. So a couple of other
Roger, not Joe. I gave Joe credit. Sorry.
Roger.
Roger.
Joe and Roger, both you guys both did good.
Yeah.
You're awesome. All right. Couple of questions that have been chatted in. So first is, where do you get training for your leads? So where do you get training for all the leads? Couple of different things. So Probate Mastery is a third party yet related company. That's something that I run. Probate Mastery is a certification program that gives just a ton of probate specific coaching and training. We probably have 25 to 30 hours of training over in Probate Mastery. If you want to check it out, go to probate-mastery.com. If you want to buy it, and if you're an All the Leads subscriber, buy it on alltheleads.com under the training dropdown. You will get a discount on the certification program if you buy through All the Leads. But you get a certification with that. There's a lot of education. If you're looking for kind of dip your toe in the water type training, under the All the Leads training dropdown, I have a course called Probate Foundations. It runs about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. It's pre-recorded. Set a time, register on alltheleads.com, set aside about an hour and a half to watch that. It's kind of a good high level overview of what your business needs to look like and what you need to go after. As you start going deeper, Mastery has scripts, dialogues, letter samples. Of course, All the Leads has a lot of letter samples as well. So we've got letter samples, ideas on content for websites, building attorney relationships, building your team, so much more under the Mastery course. So if you're looking for training, check that out. And of course, I cannot and would never diminish the fact that if you're a subscriber with All the Leads, you get a free one-on-one coaching call every month with Ken. Okay. Ken is on here, been chiming in. So if you're looking for coaching in the probate niche, go to training, click on professional real estate coaching, and book a call with Ken.
Yeah, get on those calls, guys. I mean, like Bruce said, the Mastery, the foundations. I think Mastery is the one that has the role play, right?
So Mastery, we have role play every 2 weeks. There are scripts. I'm gonna tell, because that does tie in. Ken, I'm gonna come back to you for coaching, but it does tie to someone that was asking about scripts. scripts are something that I struggle with. I struggle with what to say about scripts because they can really be a crutch for some people, and they can make your calls really awkward when you're trying to get someone to say something and they're not cooperating, and you're like, I don't know what to say now because you just memorized or you're reading a script. So the majority of people that ask for scripts are pretty seasoned. They just want a place to start. So if that's you, we do have places to start in Mastery. And I am going to kind of really teach and advise you guys to come up with a framework for your call, a general direction for your call. And then when it comes to scripts, the actual individual scripts that you use are normally one-liners. So there's certain things that I've stumbled across that every time I say this, I get a really good result. Or every time I say that, I get a really bad result. And then I'll go tweak it until I can say it a different way and get a good result. And so even though I like to provide scripts on Mastery, I prefer that people kind of memorize their general outline of the call and then come up with one-liners to be able to say. One-liners are huge. They create curiosity. They work. And there's a whole bunch of them. And if you want to memorize a whole script, go for it. I've got those scripts over there as well. All right. So Ken, back to you. We were talking about
Yeah,
one-on-one
well,
coaching.
Yeah, I mean, you should call, and you see Bruce started out with the 4 pillars, right? So everything is system thinking. I mean, when I talk to the students, basically I'm thinking of it as if 4 pillars as well. For me, it's open the call with rapport. So before they even know who I am, I mean, I'll give them my name, but I don't tell them I'm an investor or a real estate agent. I start a conversation and try to build rapport. So that's number one. Number two, is my elevator pitch. I prefer not to go there for a good 5 minutes until I'm talking to them about who they lost and what that means to them. And you'd be very surprised. You can have that conversation with somebody who needs somebody to open up to without them going, who are you? Like, they're like, wow, this person is concerned and like they want to talk about it. But if they are an A-type personality, they steer you immediately back to why are you calling? Okay, well, then you're in portion 2, your elevator pitch. You give them all the services and things that you can help them with. Number 3 is social proof and get into action. Get in front of them. Be the person like, I can help you. What do you need? I can do that. I got you. I got it. Find the pain point and get into action. That way, they don't need to talk to anybody else. You're already there at their house, doing repairs, getting the stuff cleaned out of their house, whatever it is. Sending them comparable sales. It's amazing how many of you guys are not sending out comparable sales as a touch point. All these things are touch points. The letters, comparable sales, the contractors, and then follow up. And again, I'm guilty. I don't always follow up like I should, but I do know if I follow up the way I can and should, then like Bruce said, 6 listings a month is completely realistic. I mean, so much opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But again, first think of a system, and then implement that system. And for some of you guys, the system that you're following is being unproductive and not doing the things that you need to do. So no matter what you're doing a system. Is your system producing the result you're looking for, or is your system producing, more disappointment, more frustration, more, inconsistent results? So, get on the coaching call. Let's talk. They're so good.
A podcaster and networking host that I really like is a guy named Joe Polish, and he says that your business should be ELF. You should follow the ELF model, and it stands for easy, lucrative, and fun. Okay. There's another one I'm trying to remember. It's something, his other acronym is something like annoying, hard, difficult, and non-profitable or something. And I can't remember the other acronym, but businesses are one of the two, and your system and your rituals basically dictate which one of those you're gonna follow. So, okay. So let me see if there's anything else. Steve, make it about them, not about you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone had asked, so Level had asked, do pre-probate leads also have phone numbers? Yes. If you're looking for pre-probate, there are phone numbers. Typically, there's a phone number associated with each possible/probable heir. There is no public record to be able to pull from on pre-probate. So I don't want to say it's a guessing game. It's not, but there's more of a guessing game there. You're going to virtually eliminate any competition that you would have. You are also gonna probably speak with a few people that are the wrong contact. So just be able to deal with somebody named Michelle answering and you going, "Hi, Michelle. I'm calling about the estate of Tom Smith. Yeah, Tom's sitting right beside me now. Deal with that." There's going to be an occasional wrong person in there because it's not tied to a public record. It's advanced skip tracing, but with skip tracing, you're going to have a little bit more error in the data. That's why you're going to get multiple errors with the leads. So you get the wrong person, you just move on to the next error until you speak with someone. All right.
I love Saul's comment. He said, "Ouch, Ken, that really hurt," but he's right. My system isn't working.
Sorry. I mean, it is frustrating when you talk to somebody that has all this fear and all this doubt, and it's like, come on, just like it's a conversation. Which comes back to our call last week with Tim. I was kind of giving a more advanced circle prospecting, and Tim kind of pushed back on it. And Tim's right. Like, start out with the easiest, most comfortable script that you possibly can use. You will see success, and then evolve from there. Because as you get more comfortable, then you can float into different scripts very easily. So, evolve, but begin and evolve as you go, and then it just will become so natural. But I mean, some tough love is necessary once in a while.
Yep. I'm gonna extend the call by just a quick minute. And for those of you that have begged for a script or have asked for a script, I'm gonna give you the easiest, least advanced opening script that you could possibly get for a probate lead. All right. Super easy. There are several different versions of probate calls. This is the basic. Hey, I'm not selling anything. I was looking for Ken Blumberg. Is this Ken? Yeah, Ken. I wasn't sure if I had the right person. Listen, again, I'm not selling anything. I essentially just wanted to introduce myself as an advocate to help people that are going through the probate process. I don't know if this is for you, but I was wondering if I could potentially send you some information on what I did, and then you could call me later if you ever need help. Passive, easy, no pressure. It's not the best, most advanced call. You're not going to set a ton of appointments this way, but it's easy. It's easy. You're having conversations. They say yes, you get an email address. What email should I send that to? Get an email, and then you say, if you have another 30 seconds, could I ask, is there any real estate in the estate that might need to be sold? Yes, no. If it's yes, do you have any kind of timing on that? Get their timing. Now you can start moving it toward an appointment. So that is, if you guys listen to that, I can't repeat it because we're over time. Go back and listen to the recording when it comes out a little bit later, and you'll be able to pick that up. That is an unbelievably basic opening to a probate call. If you are an advanced, skilled prospector, you're probably not going to want to use that. But for those of you that are new to prospecting, that's going to be a really good opening for you, and a good way to shift after you get an email, shift into the real estate topic. All right. With that said, let's go to Jim.
All right. I have to tell you, I'm looking at the feedback, and sometimes we accidentally have good calls here. I've seen a dozen comments about great topic, great coverage, learned a lot today. Really, really good feedback from you guys. So want you to know that we appreciate each and every one of you. I want to thank each of you for being here today. I want to particularly thank Joe and Ken and Roger and Darren and all those that actively participated. Want to wish all of you that celebrate a great Christmas weekend or whatever holiday you celebrate, and have a great time with your family, friends, and take one idea, if you can squeeze it in over the parties over the weekend, and go out and put it into action. and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thanks for being here, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend. See
Thanks,
you
everybody.
same time next Thursday. Take care.